All righty, my friend. Get that music down. All righty. That's a very quick, slow fade. It takes a long time for the fade to start to come in, and then all of a sudden, the music is over. Hey, it is the day before the Super Bowl, and this is the Dr. Sem Yankees show and the Start Spreading the News Yankees podcast, still together for a week or two more as one program. I'm still working out a schedule with EJ so that we can do the Start Spreading the News program together. A lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts, and so we're getting there. For another week, we'll just keep this show and that show as one program, one in the same. But as we begin every show, let's make today a great day. And how do you make your day great? It's simple. It really is. You look to the good. The good surrounds us. Goodness surrounds us in so many ways. So many ways that we can't even count. And when we find the good, when we look for the good and we find it, we can't help but have a great day. But again, sometimes people say, I can't find the good. There is no good anywhere. Something I would disagree with, because I think even in the worst times, there is still goodness. There are still people and things that are there for us to help us. There's still opportunities and happiness that you can find, even in the worst times. Not saying that you need to be happy in the worst times, but I think people get the general idea. But if you can't find any good, well, then create it. Create your own good. Make good for other people. Do nice things, and then there will be good to celebrate. Then you can't help but have a better day. Maybe even approaching having a great day, because you are part of the good. You can't miss it if you're creating it. Remember, my friends, when you give love, and we should give love just for giving its sake, to do the right thing, to be good people. But when you give love, it comes back to you in greater amounts than you ever gave. Quick reminder that this program is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing, a phenomenal independent publisher, totally traditional. They have a huge selection across a plethora of genres of great books. This is Artemisia. Of course, they've published numerous books that I've written, including many award winners like The Least Among Them, Scattering the Ashes, Roy White's From Compton to the Bronx, 365.2, Going the Distance. Do you need to be motivated? Get that book. That book will motivate you. And coming soon, The Greatest New York Yankees by uniform number. Go to apbooks.net. And of course, as you know, this program is also part of the great Start Spreading the News Yankees site. There is no Yankees site out there as complete, as consistent, as good, and as honest as us. Check us out at startspreadingthenews.blog. All right. Listen, I've been saying this all winter. There is one truism about blogging, about writing a Yankee site, about podcasting, about sharing your opinions. When one shares his opinions, there will be always those. And if you go to Start Spreading the News, sometimes it's the same people, but there will be always those who tell you you're wrong. You're wrong. What's interesting, and of course, and this is one reason we're unlike most other sites. Let me take a big step back. When I decided to start spreading the news, and I started putting my own Yankees perspectives, which then spills into other things. And of course, I have my other site, my Dr. Sem page, where I write stuff that isn't necessarily about sports, though sometimes. I knew that when I put ideas out there and when I write books and when I give speeches and when I go on book talks and things, I know there will be people that disagree. That's part of it. I'll say one thing and somebody will say, yeah, I don't really agree with that. And that's great. But when I was a kid in college, I was in college in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, at King's College, which was a phenomenal school. In Wilkes-Barre in the 80s, there was no internet. There was very little cable TV. It was very hard for me to get Yankee news. So my wonderful father would read the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger and the Daily News and the Post and the New York Times. And when there were Yankee articles, he would cut them out, fold them up, put them in an envelope, and mail them to me. And that kept my interest throughout the winter and the end of the season and the beginning of the next season, but especially throughout the winter when it was very hard to get Yankee news. I noticed something back then, and I'm not going to name any names because it's irrelevant. It's 40 some odd years ago. Who cares? But I noticed there was a writer, or maybe some writers in that genre, in that realm, that would make a point, whatever it might be. Dave Winfield is overrated. I'm just making this up. And then Dave Winfield would hit 340, and they'd say he's always been great, right? Like, and my point is that no matter what they wrote, they were always right. The Yankees should get Ed Whitson. Again, I'm making all this up. Trading for Rick Rhoden was brilliant. You'd see an article like that. And then Ed Whitson or Rick Rhoden or whatever would be less than good, sometimes terrible. And then they'd write, I knew they shouldn't have gotten that guy. And I said, when I start spreading the news, and when I give talks on a plethora of subjects, I would never do that. If I made an opinion, I would stand by my opinion. Now, sometimes people can change your mind, of course, but if I gave a perspective, if I said, I don't think this should happen, and then I am proven wrong, instead of saying and writing like I said that all along and I've been right, I said I'm just always going to be honest. I'm always honest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And when I'm wrong, I write that I'm wrong. I've written that many times. But the one interesting thing that you find when you do this online stuff and you write an online Yankee site, we've been doing Start Spreading the News since 2017. I mean, this has been a long time. Is there are people that will write in and tell you you're wrong. But when you're right, they somehow can't find it in themselves. And again, this isn't everybody, but when you're right, it's very rare that people then write in and go, wow, hey, good job on that one. Huh. I didn't think that was going to happen, and you called it. Real good. Well done. It's an interesting dynamic. It's probably human nature that it's easy to tell people they're wrong, and it's much easier to tell people they're right. Anyway, way back in the beginning of the off season, I wrote an article on Start Spreading the News where I said the Yankees aren't going to do anything this winter. And a lot of people, what are you, crazy? There's 2 great Japanese guys coming. There's not Cody Bellinger, the Bo Bichette. There's all these guys. Alex Bregman, the Yankees, they know they need to have a big winter. They're going to go crazy. They might get a new closer. They might sign a starting pitcher. They know this is the winter. This is the time. They're tired of not winning the World Series. You are so wrong. How do you have no faith in the Yankees? And when I wrote that article, I said I'm going to rerun this article in February. I wrote it in November. Like nothing's going to happen this winter. And when I wrote it, I said, I'll rerun this in February. I wrote that at the time, setting myself up to be wrong, setting myself up to run the article again and say, well, yeah, I didn't think they'd do anything big this winter. And boy, was I wrong. What a fool I am. Except the Yankees really did nothing except re-sign Cody Bellinger, which I wrote in that article that they might. And I don't think that's an earth-shattering move. He's a very good player, but he's not a guy who's going to make the difference. In fact, he was part of the team last year that was unable to achieve a world championship. By bringing him back, you're not improving, you're keeping the status quo. But it's funny that you then say, all right, I'm going to put myself out there. Gang up on me if I'm wrong, because I'm going to run this exact same article in 4 months or so. And then you run the exact same article, and all the people that told you were wrong, what are you, crazy? They're going to have a big off season. You don't know what you're talking about. They never go, wow, I disagreed at the time. You were right. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. But I think predicting that the Yankees weren't going to do anything of substance was a very easy prediction to make, because we've been seeing this really just about as long as I've been running Start Spreading the News. I've said this for a long time. I've said it here. I've said it on other podcasts. I've said it on other sites. I've said it on my site. The Yankees don't want to be great. And I think fans have to realize that once and for all. The Yankees want to be pretty good. Sometimes they want to maybe be very good. Right now, they just want to be pretty good. They define themselves by their competition. And they say, well, the competition's not that great, so we can be even less than not that great. If the competition looks really good, they go, we better be a little bit better than pretty good. They want to be in the playoff hunt because they want to sell their fans on the postseason opportunities. They don't build the team to be the favorites. They don't build the team like they used to be the team to win it all. That won't. No Yankee fan ever says, I expect the Yankees to win the World Series every year. Nobody says that. Nobody has ever said that. But Yankee fans have been brought up, at least older fans, younger fans don't even know what it's like to see the Yankees win. But older fans have been brought up in this idea of Yankees greatness, Yankees excellence, and the Yankees should always be going for it. They may not always win, but they always will have the team that should win. And I've talked about this before, that's a huge difference in philosophy of we'll build a team that might be able to win. I hope we're good enough. If things fall our way, they might be good enough, which is different than we are going to build the absolute best team we possibly can so that we should win it all. We might not, but we should. If we don't, we fell short, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. the way they operate now, we're not going to go all in. We're not going to give it everything. We're going to do okay. And that's represented up and down across the franchise. And we've seen this coming for a long time. And this winter, it came to fruition more clearly than ever before. There was a time when the Yankees brand meant greatness, and those days are long gone. So we know that. We've talked about that. Hopefully they can be good. The Yankees are banking on hoping they could be good. They're banking on Trent Grisham having another career year. They're banking on Jazz Chisholm having another career year. They're banking on Ben Rice continuing to be great. They're banking on guys like Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe to somehow become good. They're banking on Aaron Judge being greater than great, playing at a level that no player really in history outside of a very, very few have ever maintained for this many consecutive years. If Aaron Judge is just very good instead of otherworldly great, the Yankees could be in trouble. And I've shown on articles and statistics that even guys like Willie Mays, even Babe Ruth had a down year in 1925, aren't consistently in the upper stratosphere. They're still very, very, very good. But for the Yankees to have been the Yankees in recent years, their greatness or their very goodness, their success, maybe that's whatever success they've had, that's the better way to say it. Much of that's been because Aaron Judge hasn't been very, very good. Aaron Judge has been otherworldly good. EJ's written many articles about how Aaron Judge is playing at an all-time greatest player of all time level. And even with that, the Yankees haven't been able to win a World Series. But maybe they can. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on maybe. Maybe the pitchers who are injured can come back. Maybe Ryan McMahon can hit. Maybe Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez will achieve what everyone hopes they might. But it's a lot of ifs. It's a lot of hoping. And that's not the way most loyal, dedicated, passionate Yankees fans were brought up and became loyal, passionate, dedicated Yankees fans. They became fans with the Yankees going out, even when they were not great in the 80s, but still going out and putting their best foot forward to try to have the very best team, period. They don't do that anymore. And I think they're slowly driving away fans, driving away interest, and slowly destroying the greatness, the excellence that defined the franchise. But again, enough of that. We've talked a lot about that. I found this old box, 1983 Topps football set. This was when I became a football fan. 1982, 1983. My favorite player, I have the Jets jersey. John Riggins. Love John Riggins. My favorite postseason was that postseason before these cards were printed. The 82 season when Riggins led the Redskins to the Super Bowl championship. There was nothing better than that. You know, there's nothing better really than when you're a fan and you first fall in love with a sport. That's when the sport is at its greatest. And that's when, for me, football was at its greatest. When John Riggins was running, Riggins left, Riggins right, Riggins up the middle. I just loved it. And I loved that Super Bowl against the Miami Dolphins. My predictions for this year's Super Bowl, I think you all know I don't bet. I'm against betting. I'm against all of the betting apps. I think they're going to destroy sports. I think they already are. I think there's a lot of bad with online gambling and all of it. You know that. I've made all those points before. My mom likes to say, let's make a friendly bet. I'm like, no, I don't bet. Oh, come on. $1. No, I'm not betting. Not at all. Not even $1. If I win, I don't want to give you $1. I give my mom whatever she wants, but in the sense of betting. And if I lose, I'm not taking your $1. I'm not going to take your $1. I don't want your $1. And I'm not betting. I don't want to be part of that whole thing. I want to just enjoy watching a game without thinking, oh, well, this team is favored and I want that guy to do this, even if it hurts the team I'm rooting for. No. But my prediction for the Super Bowl, and I'm not a big football fan, I happen to think the Seahawks are probably the better team. My rooting interest is the Patriots. I am all in on the Patriots. My son, Ethan, is a huge Patriots fan. Why did he become a Patriots fan? Because when he got into football, the Patriots were great. That's what happens with sports. When there's a great team and you start watching them, you start to root for them. Yankees, take note. Anyway, he became a big Tom Brady fan. Makes sense. You're a kid, you're watching Tom Brady be great. Every time you put the playoffs on, Tom Brady is there. He's winning Super Bowls. Go Patriots. One of the first Super Bowls we watched was the when the guy caught the football on the helmet. Can't get his name. When the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. In that game, Ethan, I think, and we've talked about this, he was just a little kid. He was sort of rooting for the Giants because they're the New York team and we're New York fans. We're Yankees fans. Go Giants. And if the Jets win, go Jets. I think he was kind of sad when the Patriots won that game. But then the Patriots kept winning and they kept getting his interest. And so he's a Patriots fan. And if it's going to make my kid happy, go Patriots. Even though he's a grown-up now. Still, he's a Patriots fan, so I'm rooting for the Patriots. But I thought it'd be fun just for a minute or two to look at some of these old football cards. I haven't opened up this box in a long time. And just remembering some great old names from when I first started rooting for football. Kenny Anderson, quarterback on the Bengals. The great Tony Dorsett. How about Dan Fouts? Oh, man, I loved Dan Fouts. I loved the Chargers. I loved the way he threw Kellen Winslow and I can't remember all these guys' names anymore. Oh, how about this? Joe Montana? Look at these guys. I mean, these are superstar names. Mark Mosley, Mike Nelms, Darrell Ray, and here's my favorite of all time, Riggo. There he is. My favorite player of all time. One day I would like to meet and sit down with John Riggins. I think that would be so much fun. Fulton Walker, I remember that we ran that touchdown back. Here's Riggo, the big play in the Super Bowl. 4th and 1. He beats the Dolphins. Oh, my goodness. Now, I was a big Jets fan. I have the Jets jersey. That's how I sort of have Riggins, Jets. I sort of represent them both with this. When Riggins was a Jet, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't watching football back then. But the Dolphins had beat the Jets in the playoffs, in the Mud Bowl. I was rooting for the Jets. The Dolphins beat them. And then when Riggins, of my other favorite team, my favorite NFC team, the Redskins, beat the Dolphins, who had beaten my favorite team, the Jets, it just made it even more special. Let's see if we can find a couple other great old names of football players from when I first became a fan. The first team they have there was the Falcons. There wasn't much there for me. I didn't do much with the Falcons. A couple years later, this guy became a Super Bowl champion, Jim McMahon. I wonder if that's his rookie card. I don't know. I don't know enough about football. Oh, my goodness. Who's one of the greatest football players of all time? I love these questions. Football, it's harder to define because the game changes so much. Who's the greatest running back of all time? Is it Jim Brown? Or is it Sweetness? Is it Walter Payton? A lot of fun. Oh, my goodness. Great defensive player right here. Mike Singletary. Remember him? This is a couple of years before Refrigerator Perry and those guys. Oh, since I was a Redskins fan, I did not root for the Cowboys. I was not a Cowboys fan. I had a great friend named Tim. He lived right around the corner, and he was the biggest Cowboys fan. And we would go and watch those games together, the Redskins against the Cowboys. And, oh, boy, did we have fun hating each other's teams. Tony Hill. Oh, my goodness. I don't remember this card at all, but I remember the player. Remember Ed Too Tall Jones? Oh, my goodness. This is fun. I should have done this for the whole show. Drew Pearson, Raphael Septien, Everson Walls, and here was their quarterback, Danny White. As I remember, Danny White got hurt in the championship game against the Redskins, and they went to the backup. Was it Ron Hogaboom or something like that? Randy White, and he almost helped the Cowboys beat the Redskins, but the Redskins held on. And again, that was one of the great playoff games that John Riggins had that year. They just gave him the ball. I just loved that. It made me a fan of big-time running backs. Just give him the ball. I love the stories of Riggins. Give me the rock, coach. Just give it to me, and we're going to win. Love that. And I also loved on the Jets a different type of running back, Freeman McNeil. I used to have a Freeman McNeil Jets jersey back when I was in college and late high school. Loved Freeman McNeil. I used to love the way Marv Albert would call the games, and he'd go, Freeman McNeil. He was great. Loved Riggins more, the big power back who just took the ball and went forward. Always liked the Packers. I was always a fan of their quarterback in that time period, Lynn Dickey. Remember him? There he is. I used to rank my favorite football teams. The Jets were first. The Redskins were second. The 49ers were third. The Steelers were fourth. The Packers usually came in at my ranking at about fifth. I liked the Steelers because as I was just getting aware of football, again, against the Cowboys, they were fighting the Cowboys in Super Bowls. And you had Bradshaw and Lynn Swann and John Stallworth and Mean Joe Green and Franco Harris and all those guys. I was attracted more to the lure of the Steelers than I was to the Cowboys and Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett. And so the Steelers have always been one of my favorite teams as well. Anyway, I'm looking at some Packers here. Here's the Rams. Didn't have much of an interest in the Rams. Though the Rams and the Chargers, to me, are two teams I always get confused. They have like the same colors. They seem to play in the same stadiums at the same times. Here's some Vikings. It's interesting that in baseball cards, Topps did not put them in order by team, but by football card, they did. Oh, and here's some Giants of the time. The Giants weren't all that great, but you had Scott Bruner. Here's a great Giant who actually lives not far from me. Every now and again, we see him in the store. The great Harry Carson. That's a great football card. Is that a great football card? Harry Carson right there. I wonder if I have LT in here. Dave Jennings, George Martin. Let's just see. Oh, my goodness. This is fun. Look at this, my dear friends. LT. Wow. Fun stuff. I said, let me get my old football cards out. I saw the box. I said, let me bring them to the Start Spreading the News show. So go Patriots tomorrow. Let's go Patriots. Never liked the Seahawks. That's one team I never really had any attraction to. Let's go Patriots. Let's take a moment and always remember the great players we rooted for. John Riggins, go Riggo, And let's hope the Yankees somehow can do something to make 2026 a year we can get excited about, because right now their lethargy has worn off on a great amount of the Yankee fan base. Thank you for watching. Make each day great. Give love, give kindness, be good people. And when you're kind and you're good and you give those things, they'll come back to you. They will. Just the way it works. Have a great day.